Good afternoon and good evening, good morning to all the folks watching the Dave and Kyle show. I'm David, that's Kyle. Today we're talking more about weight loss, but have you heard of this drug called Zepbound? Keep listening to learn more about
Zepbound is another one of those brilliantly named, toward the bottom of the list of available pharmaceutical names at this point, type of brainstorming session pharmaceutical name. So beyond that, thanks to the CE app for sponsoring. You can go to myceapp.com, sign up to manage continuing education for you and your team. So Zepbound and Hims and Hers, Eli Lilly, all these stocks are probably maybe going to the moon in some opinions because of what's going on here. Tell me more, Dave.
it. So we'll jump straight into it. This is fresh off the press from Reuters. Hims and Hers to sell Lilly's weight loss drug on its telehealth platform. So you've heard of Ozempic, you heard of Wegovy, you heard of all these miracle drugs to lose weight, but probably have been having trouble getting access to it. So Hims and Hers is this giant telehealth platform. Think of Ro, think of a teledoc, essentially a doctor seeing you online, getting you the weight loss medications you need. There's been some controversy about drug supplies and shortages, but essentially it's back on the market. And Hims and Hers is selling these brand name weight loss injections called Zepbound. A little bit on the pricing, and I'll go over the differences in a second. But just to show you guys the upfront, close and personal view, you could buy a new car, you could pay your rent, or you could purchase Ozempic. So
You
here are
could
some
be
of the
driving a
prices.
Range Rover around for this amount.
Yep, yep. What good is driving Range Rover if I'm overweight? 17.99 for Ozempic. We see here they have some options, Monjaro, and we see here on my right, Zepbound, 18.99 a month. So quite a hefty price tag. Curious to hear your thoughts in a second, Kyle. But I'll first answer, what's the differences between them? Are they the same thing? So we have this article from GoodRx, from my friends at GoodRx, written by a couple of pharmacists. Some key takeaways: there's a number of different injections. Zepbound and Ozempic. You might have heard of Monjaro. You might have heard of Wegovy. So basically, these four injections, there are two and two. Two of them are the same exact drug. They just slapped a different name on it and called it something else for a different approval, different indication, different reason you can use it. And the other two, same deal. You can use it for different indications. They just call it something else. So really, we're only talking about two drugs with four names. Are you confused yet? Hope not. A
Mhm.
couple of things. So if you just look at the thing in the parentheses, there's tirzepatide or tirzepatide, and there's semaglutide. So look what's in the parentheses. They're slightly different. They work by kind of tricking your body to think it's full. That's the most unscientific way to say it, but I'm running with it. Tirzepatide, and in studies, it actually has two actions, ways of helping you lose weight, versus semaglutide is one way, two pathways. One's called GLP-1, one's called GIP. Zepatide, supposedly because of these two actions, you lose twice as much weight compared to semaglutide. So in studies, I think it's between 12 and 15 pounds for semaglutide, and tirzepatide, 25 to 30 pounds. Obviously, this is over several months. This is along with, diet and exercise. Some studies, no diet and exercise, but overall, people lost weight, almost twice as much. So, twice as much weight. Is it worth 18.99 a month? Tell me, Kyle. What do you think?
I mean, clearly the stuff works. So, and I don't know any idea how long term you'd need to do it for to keep the weight off, or what happens afterward. Is that the cutoff of those studies? Do we not have any long term longitudinal type stuff yet?
Great question. So, according to my friends at GoodRx in this article, in the studies, it was 72 weeks. People receiving Zepbound lost about 50 pounds, while people on Wegovy or Ozempic lost about 33 pounds. So if you stay on it for 72 weeks, that's about what, a year and a quarter. Uh, that's a lot of weight.
That's a lot
So
of money too.
yeah,
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 over that amount of time, if you're paying 18.99 a month. Yeah, I think it's a good question. Like to some people, yes, it does make sense to invest that. And sometimes insurance can cover it, which is great. If you go directly to the manufacturers, Lilly offers Zepbound for 500 a month. If you're uninsured, semaglutide could be 200 a month. I think, yeah, it's that's why FDA said there was a shortage. A lot of people want it. A lot of people are getting it. And that recently changed, which is interesting. I wonder how's that affected you when the FDA said, "Oh, actually, there's no longer a shortage on these things." I know that it affected Hims and Hers because they were doing their own generic compound, but yeah, how did it end up on the patient side?
Actually, we kind of use them interchangeably. We in the healthcare industry, things are very slow to change. Takes a lot of reasons. Most often, it's the patients advocating for it. So, patients, people listening out there, if you want it, you gotta yell and scream, tell your doctor again and again, and you'll get it eventually. But for the most part, we have been using kind of the cheapest version of semaglutide, maybe something that works similarly but isn't the same. Think, at the grocery store, you have your Lay's chips, you have your Ruffles, and then you have your Great Value chips. So in the hospital, we use the Great Value chips. It's the same thing, works the same way.
The great value chips are going to have the opposite effect of Ozempic, by the way. If you keep those on a monthly budget. Yeah, in terms of the sort of financial and business side of it, it's interesting to me because Hims and Hers kind of built their business on generics and doing it themselves, so they could do it at a low cost, high subscription fee, high margin for them in some cases, and also just offer a good price, very easy to access for folks. And in this case, they made over $230 million selling their compounded versions of semaglutide. That went out the door with the FDA saying there's no longer a shortage, so you can't actually do those exact copies anymore. The stock went way down, but now with this new announcement, it's interesting. It's up 5%, in one day after that announcement. From a business perspective, clearly they adjusted quickly within a matter of weeks, and hopefully it ends up in good results for them, good results for the patients. But I think it's still a little early to see.
No more Great Value Ozempic. Gotta sell Lay's now.
Yeah, the real
Gotta sell
ones.
Lay's now. So I'm curious I don't know the margins, but what do you think? Are they making money? Are they losing money? What is your kind of reaction to that? Having to sell the brand name stuff.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think at that price they are probably making good money. It might have, I don't know if the FDA thing came as a surprise to them or if they were already planning for it and they could adjust that quickly because of it. But if you remember, if you were watch the Super Bowl and watch the ads, which are one of my main focuses when watching the Super Bowl, they had an ad. I believe it was Hims and Hers. They had an ad specifically targeting weight loss. So the weight loss drugs were a huge cornerstone of their whole marketing push. I'm guessing, yeah, they're making good money.
Yep, yep. And I think, anytime you're selling someone else's product at $18.99 a month, that's a high margin. So a lot of these generics, you can sell your Great Value, you can undercut the competition, sell it at way lower. So it may be hard to find a niche, right? Why buy from Hims and Hers when you can buy it straight from Novo Nordisk or the drug manufacturer? uh, Kind of unfair advantage there the pharma has. So curious to see why people still buy from Hims and Hers. So with
We
that,
will.
we'll leave you on a cliffhanger. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you like the episode, go ahead and click like, comment in the description if you have any suggestions or reactions of your own. If you want to continue watching our content, go ahead and click subscribe. If you're on LinkedIn, go ahead and click follow. Just clicking one of those buttons helps us a bunch.
Feel free to throw comments in the box below as well, and we would love to hear from you and reply. As long as you don't talk about some of the other stuff that Hims and Hers does that get you stuck in a spam inbox. If you email folks about it, if you know the sorts of drugs that I'm talking about, we'd love to hear from you. And thanks again.
All right. Happy Friday, everyone. Take care.